The classroom fell silent as Professor Zarthal entered. His 6 eyes blinked one after another as he placed his materials on the desk. The lecture hall of the Galactic Academy of Interspecies Relations was filled with students from over 300 different alien species. They sat in curved rows that rose high above the professor's platform. The Academy floated in an asteroid belt near the center of the Milky Way galaxy, far from Earth. Today we discuss quarantined species, Professor Zarthal announced. His voice echoed through the room. Most importantly, we will cover humans. Many students leaned forward with interest. Humans were rarely discussed in their regular classes. Humans are classified as a Class X restricted species, the professor continued. No contact is permitted under Galactic Council Mandate 447B. In the back row of the large room, 3 senior students exchanged looks. Krell, who resembled a large praying mantis with green skin, rolled his eyes. Beside him sat Lyra, whose blue skin gleamed under the lights. Her compound eyes, like those of a fly but larger, reflected the holographic display at the front of the room. "Not this again," Krell whispered. His voice was low but clear to his friends. "Another so-called dangerous species we can't talk to." Lyra nodded. "My cousin told me humans are just hairless apes who barely made it to their own moon." On Lyra's other side sat Dorn. Unlike his friends, Dorn's body was made of crystal-like material that changed colors with his mood. Currently, he glowed a bored yellow. "I think the council just wants their resources," Dorn said. "They make up these rules to keep the good planets for themselves." Their whispers grew louder until several students nearby turned to look at them. Professor Zarthal stopped his lecture and stared at the 3 friends. "Perhaps our advanced students would like to share their thoughts with everyone," the professor said. His tone made it clear this was not really a question. The 3 friends went quiet. Krell looked down at his desk. Lyra's blue skin darkened with embarrassment. Dorn's crystal body turned a nervous green. "No? I thought you had important insights about humans," Professor Zarthal continued. "Since you seem to know more than your textbooks, you can come to my office after class. I have a special assignment for you." The rest of the lecture passed slowly for the 3 friends. When class ended, they waited until the other students left before walking down to Professor Zarthal's desk. "Follow me," he said without looking at them. He led them through winding hallways to his office. Inside waited another alien they did not recognize. This newcomer had metallic skin that reflected the room's lights. "This is Dean Vox," Professor Zarthal introduced. "He oversees our restricted archives." Dean Vox nodded stiffly. His face showed no emotion. "These students will be granted temporary access to Human Historical Archive 7, Professor Zarthal told Dean Vox. "They will prepare a report on the Sol System incident of 2187 for the class." Dean Vox's metallic face somehow managed to show alarm. "That footage is restricted to teachers and military personnel only. These students believe our caution toward humans is unnecessary," Professor Zarthal replied. "Perhaps seeing the evidence firsthand will teach them something valuable." The 3 students exchanged excited glances. Access to restricted archives was rare and could help their grades and future careers. "Very well," Dean Vox said, though he did not sound happy about it. "You will use viewing room 3. The footage must stay in that room. You cannot record it or take notes out." "We understand," Krell said quickly before his friends could speak. This opportunity was too good to lose. Dean Vox led them down a secure hallway that required 3 different scans to enter. As they walked, Lyra whispered to her friends, "This must be serious if they keep it this locked up." Dorn's crystal body flickered with excited colors. "Or maybe it's all for show. Make something seem restricted and everyone thinks it's important." Krell leaned closer to them both. "This is our chance to show that this human ban is just made-up rules. We'll be famous if we can prove the council is lying." They reached a door marked Viewing Room 3 in several alien languages. Dean Vox placed his hand on a scanner. "You will report here tomorrow morning at first bell," he told them. "The viewing will take several hours. Clear your schedule." As they walked back to their living quarters, Krell could barely contain his excitement. This could change everything, he said. If humans aren't really dangerous, it means the Council has been keeping an entire species trapped in their home system for no reason, and lying to everyone about why, Lyra added. Dorn changed to a thoughtful blue color. I wonder what's really on that footage. What if it actually shows something important? Krell waved his thin, mantis-like arm dismissively. It's probably just humans doing normal things that the Council decided was threatening, like developing faster ships or better weapons. All species develop weapons, Lyra agreed. The Council didn't quarantine the Zabloxians when they created plasma cannons. They reached the fork in the hallway where they would separate to their different living areas. Meet here at half-bell, Krell said. We don't want to be late. That night, none of them slept well, their minds filled with questions about what they might see. Krell imagined exposing a great Council lie. Lyra wondered if humans really looked like the pictures in their textbooks. Dorn's crystal body cycled through colors as he dreamed of strange possibilities. Morning came quickly. They met as planned and walked together to the secure area. Dean Vox was waiting outside the viewing room. Remember, nothing leaves this room, he reminded them as he opened the door. I will be monitoring your session remotely. The viewing room was small and plain. It held only a round table with 3 chairs and a holographic projector in the center. The walls were white and without decoration. Sit, Dean Vox instructed. Once they were seated, he activated the security systems. The door sealed with a soft hiss. The first file is labeled First Contact, USS Horizon and the Arcturian science vessel. The hologram flickered to life between them, showing stars and distant space. Dean Vox moved toward the door. Wait, Lyra called. Aren't you staying to watch with us? Dean Vox turned, his metallic face reflecting the light from the hologram. I have seen this footage 43 times during my career, he said quietly. Once was enough. The door closed behind him, leaving the 3 students alone with the hologram. They looked at each other with sudden uncertainty. What did he mean by that? Dorn whispered, his crystal body turning a nervous purple. Before anyone could answer, the hologram expanded to fill the room. Suddenly they were surrounded by deep space. A small ship with strange markings appeared in the distance. That must be the human ship, Krell said, his voice less confident than before. As the ship grew larger in their view, they fell silent. Their education was about to begin. The hologram surrounded the 3 alien students with stars and darkness. They felt as if they were floating in space themselves. The human ship grew larger in their view. It was long and gray with the words USS Horizon painted on its side. It looked so simple, Lyra said. Her blue skin reflected the light from the hologram. Krell nodded. His mantis-like head moved up and down. Their technology seems basic. Look at those rocket engines. Dorn's crystal body shimmered with interest as he studied the human vessel. Those must be their earliest attempts at space travel between stars. The scene changed. Now they could see inside the human ship. Strange creatures moved around a control room. They walked on 2 legs and had no scales, feathers, or exoskeletons. Their skin came in different shades of pink, brown, and black. Most had fur on top of their heads in various colors. So, these are humans, Lyra whispered. She had seen pictures in textbooks but never moving footage. A voice spoke through hidden speakers. First contact occurred when the Arcturian science vessel Stellar Seeker detected unusual energy signatures near the edge of explored space. They discovered the human ship testing a new propulsion system. The hologram showed a much larger, more advanced alien ship approaching the human vessel. Light signals flashed between the 2 ships. The Arcturians initiated standard peaceful contact protocols, the voice continued. After initial communication difficulties, language translation was established. The scene shifted again. Now they could see humans and Arcturians meeting face to face in a large room. The Arcturians looked much like Dean Vox with metallic skin that reflected light. The humans appeared nervous but excited. The humans called their planet Earth, the voice explained. They had only recently developed technology to travel between stars. The Arcturians informed the Galactic Council of this discovery. New scenes appeared showing council meetings. Representatives from dozens of alien species debated what to do about humans. The council voted to begin standard observation of humans before offering membership, the voice said. A small diplomatic outpost was established in their solar system to learn more about them. Dorn's crystal body changed to a confused yellow color. This all seems normal. Where's the danger? Krell waved one of his thin arms. Exactly. This proves what I said. There's nothing special about humans. Lyra wasn't so sure. Then why are we watching this in a secure room? The hologram shifted again. The date stamp showed 18 months had passed since first contact. Now they saw a human in a dark blue uniform speaking with Arcturian diplomats. His face looked angry. This is Captain Nathan Hayes of Earth Combined Forces, the voice identified. He served as the main contact between humans and aliens at the diplomatic outpost. They couldn't understand the human language, but a translation appeared as text, floating beside the image. Captain Hayes was upset about alien ships scanning Earth's military bases. The Arcturians explained they were doing standard safety checks, the voice said. All potential member species go through this process. The scene jumped ahead several days. Captain Hayes stood in a room with representatives from 7 different alien species. His face looked determined. You want to see what we're capable of? The translation read, Fine, but remember you asked for this demonstration. The hologram changed to show a barren, rocky moon. A small human shuttle landed on its surface. Captain Hayes and 4 other humans stepped out wearing protective suits. They unloaded several metal boxes from their shuttle. This is Moon HD 119. In the human solar system, the voice explained. It had no strategic value. The humans invited representatives from several species to watch what they called a military exercise. The 3 students leaned forward as the humans set up their equipment. Captain Hayes pressed some controls, then hurried back to the shuttle. The aliens watching from a safe distance looked confused. At first, nothing happened. Then the surface of the moon began to ripple as if it were liquid. Cracks appeared, spreading rapidly. The moon seemed to fold in on itself in places and bulge outward in others. Lyra gasped. Krell's antennae went straight up in shock. Dorn's crystal body turned, a pale, frightened white. In minutes, the moon broke apart completely. Where a large moon had been, now only floating rocks remained. The human shuttle was already moving away, returning to the waiting alien ships. The humans called it a gravitational disruptor, the voice said. No council species had such technology at this level of development. It should have been impossible for humans to create this weapon. The scene changed to show Captain Hayes explaining to the stunned alien observers. This is a small demonstration. Our actual weapons are much more powerful. Krell's voice shook when he spoke. They destroyed an entire moon just to make a point? The council became very concerned, the voice continued. How had humans made such powerful weapons while their spaceships and other technology remained primitive? It broke all known patterns of development. The hologram showed another council meeting. Many representatives appeared afraid. Others looked angry. After much debate, the council decided humans were unpredictable and dangerous, the voice explained. They voted to send a large military fleet to Earth's solar system. This fleet would establish a quarantine until humans could be properly controlled. The image changed to show hundreds of alien warships gathering. They were large and powerful, armed with the best weapons the council races had developed. The council assembled 300 warships, including 27 dreadnoughts, the largest fleet in council history, the voice said. They believed such overwhelming force would make humans surrender without fighting. That makes sense, Dorn said, his color returning to normal. No species could stand against so many ships. Lyra looked thoughtful. But if that worked, why are humans still quarantined today? Something must have gone wrong. The hologram shifted one more time. Now it showed the massive alien fleet approaching Earth's solar system. The ships moved in perfect formation toward Eoi, the blue planet. The fleet entered human space on day 47 of Earth year 2187, the voice said. They broadcast demands for humans to disarm and accept council oversight immediately. The three students watched as the fleet drew closer to Earth. A feeling of dread grew in the small viewing room. "What happens next?" Krell asked quietly. The hologram suddenly changed. The quality became worse, as if the recording devices were damaged. They saw brief, chaotic clips of alien ships being torn apart. Some ships simply vanished. Others broke into pieces or imploded as if crushed by giant hands. "What's happening to them?" Lyra cried out. "The humans were ready." The voice answered simply. "They had hidden defenses throughout their solar system. This footage comes from emergency recordings and damaged video devices." The hologram showed a human woman in a uniform speaking directly to the camera. Her face looked calm and serious. "This is Admiral Lisa Powell of Earth Defense Command," the translation read. "Your unprovoked attack has been met with appropriate force. Our solar system is now closed to all alien visitors. Any ships that enter will be destroyed. We did not want this fight, but we will end it if necessary." The recording showed the remaining alien ships retreating in disorder. 2/3 of the Council fleet was destroyed in less than 40 minutes, the voice said. Over 900,000 aliens from various species died. No Council military operation had ever suffered such losses. The three students sat in shocked silence as the hologram faded away. "End of Part 1, the voice announced. "Continue to Part 2? None of them spoke for several moments. Finally, Krell found his voice. "Yes," he said weakly. "Continue." The hologram changed to show a new scene. The three students sat perfectly still. None of them spoke. The shock of what they had just witnessed kept them silent. Part 2. Analysis of Human Defense Systems, the voice announced. The image showed a laboratory where alien scientists examined broken pieces of machinery. The parts looked twisted and melted. After the Council fleet retreated, experts studied the remains of destroyed ships, the voice explained. They tried to understand how humans defeated such a large force. One alien scientist, who looked like a tall bird with 4 arms, pointed to strange burn marks on a piece of metal. The humans used several types of weapons unknown to the Council. The voice continued. Some ships were destroyed by devices that changed gravity in small areas, pulling the ships apart. Others were hit by weapons that seemed to fold space itself. Dorn's crystal body had turned a dull gray color from fear. How is that possible? Folding space requires enormous energy. The humans had found ways to use energy more efficiently than any Council race, the voice answered. They could create effects that our scientists thought impossible with their level of technology. The hologram shifted to show maps of the human solar system. Red dots appeared throughout the space around Earth, marking weapon locations. Humans had hidden thousands of automated defense systems throughout their territory, the voice said. They had been preparing for years, even before first contact. Somehow they expected conflict. But why? Lyra asked, her blue skin now pale with shock. The Arcturians came in peace. The scene changed again. Now they saw human documents and videos with translations. Humans in different clothes talked urgently to each other. Human history was shaped by constant conflict between their own groups, the voice explained. For thousands of years they fought wars among themselves. This experience made them suspicious of outsiders. The hologram showed clips of humans arguing at meetings. When aliens first visited Earth, many humans worried about invasion, the voice continued. Their stories and entertainment often featured hostile aliens attacking their planet. They projected their own violent history onto us. Krell shook his head in disbelief. So they attacked because they thought we would attack them? Partly, the voice said. But there was more. When human Captain Hayes became angry about scanning their military bases, it revealed a cultural difference. Council races see safety inspections as normal. Humans saw them as preparing for attack. The hologram showed Captain Hayes again, speaking to his leaders back on Earth. They're studying our defenses. His translated words appeared. They're learning where we're vulnerable. We must assume hostile intent. Lyra leaned forward. So, the moon demonstration was a warning, the voice finished for her. Humans tried to show they were too dangerous to attack, But the Council misunderstood. Instead of respecting human independence, they sent a fleet to control them. The scene changed to show Admiral Lisa Powell speaking to other humans in a secure room. "We knew this might happen," she told them. "Activate Protocol Shield Wall." Humans had prepared specific plans in case of alien aggression, the voice explained. When our fleet arrived making demands, they activated their hidden weapons. New images showed the battle from the human perspective. Earthships stayed safely back while automated weapons did the fighting. Human commanders watched calmly as the Council fleet was destroyed. The most disturbing discovery was that humans had been observing Council space for years, the voice continued. They had sent small hidden probes to study our technology and defenses long before we officially discovered them. The hologram displayed human research facilities where scientists studied alien technology. By the time the Council fleet arrived, humans already understood our shield systems, weapons, and communication methods, the voice said. They knew exactly how to defeat us. Dorn's crystal body had now turned a dark blue of sadness. All those lives lost because of a misunderstanding. The scene shifted once more to show a Council emergency meeting after the defeat. Representatives argued with each other, some looking terrified, others angry. The Council faced a difficult decision, the voice explained. Attempting to defeat humans would require an even larger fleet, which might also fail. Making peace seemed dangerous because humans had proven untrustworthy. One Council member stood to speak. The translation of their words appeared. "We must establish a permanent quarantine. Earth and its solar system will be isolated until humans either destroy themselves or evolve beyond their violent nature." The Council voted. Most agreed with the quarantine plan. Specialized beacon satellites were placed around human territory, the voice said. Any ship crossing this boundary would trigger alerts throughout Council space. Humans were officially classified as a Class X restricted species. The hologram showed the final communication sent to Earth from the Council. "Attention humans. Your solar system is now under quarantine by order of the Galactic Council. No ships may leave your territory. Any attempt to cross the boundary will be considered an act of war against all Council races. This decision is final." Human response came quickly. Admiral Powell appeared again on screen. "We accept your boundary for now," her translated words read. "We have no desire for further conflict. But know this, we will continue to grow and develop within our space. One day we may decide your quarantine no longer serves our interests." The hologram shifted to show the passage of time. Years went by as satellites monitored the edge of human space. Occasionally, human ships would approach the boundary but never cross it. For 40 years, humans have respected the quarantine, the voice concluded. But their activity within their territory has increased dramatically. New images showed human colonies spreading to other planets in their solar system. Their technology continued to advance. More ships were built. Recent observations suggest humans have settled over 30 planets and established mining operations on hundreds of moons and asteroids, the voice said. Their population has tripled. Their technological progress accelerates each year. The final image showed a human ship approaching the boundary. It stopped just short of crossing. "The quarantine will not contain them forever," the voice said. "The question facing the Council today is whether to attempt peaceful contact again before humans decide to break free on their own terms." The hologram faded away. The lights in the viewing room brightened slowly. "End of historical record," the voice announced. "You may take a brief rest before continuing to the modern analysis section." The three students sat in stunned silence. None of them could find words to express what they felt. Their earlier mockery of the human band now seemed childish and naive. Finally, Krell spoke in a whisper. "I understand now. I understand why they warned us." Dean Vox entered the viewing room as the three students sat in silence. His metallic face showed no emotion, but his voice was gentler than before. "We will take a short break," he said. "Food and drinks are provided in the next room. You have 30 minutes. The students followed him without speaking. Their minds were still processing what they had seen. The room next door had a small table with alien foods and drinks suited to their different species. None of them felt very hungry, but they each took something. They sat at the table, avoiding each other's eyes. The weight of what they had learned pressed down on them. Finally, Lyra broke the silence. I never imagined. All those lives lost. Krell nodded slowly. His earlier confidence was gone. We were so wrong to mock the human ban. The council had good reasons. I keep thinking about how the humans prepared for years, Dorn said. His crystal body had turned a deep blue color of sadness. They sent secret probes to study us before we even met them officially. They expected the worst from us, Lyra added, because of their own violent history. Dean Vox stood nearby listening. Now he approached their table. What you've seen is why access to human information is restricted, he explained. The public knows humans are quarantined, but not the full reasons why. But why keep it secret? Krell asked. Shouldn't everyone know how dangerous humans are? Dean Vox's metallic fingers tapped lightly on the table. The council fears two reactions if the truth became widely known. First, panic. The idea that a supposedly primitive species could defeat our greatest fleet would frighten many citizens. And second? Lyra asked. Inspiration, Dean Vox said simply. Some might admire the humans' ability to defend themselves against overwhelming odds. Others might seek human technology for themselves. The students considered this as they finished their refreshments. Dean Vox checked the time. We should return, he said. The next section covers current human activities and possible future scenarios. Back in the viewing room, they settled into their seats. The hologram came to life again, showing the Council's monitoring system around human space. Part 3, Current Activities and Future Projections, the voice announced. The image zoomed in on human ships moving near the edge of their territory. Some appeared to be research vessels studying the quarantine beacons. Others were clearly military ships performing exercises. Humans continue to test the boundary regularly, the voice explained. They never cross it but demonstrate increasing capabilities each year. The hologram showed a timeline of human technological development since the quarantine began. Their progress in space travel, energy generation, and weapons had accelerated dramatically. Without access to Council technology, humans have developed along unique paths, the voice continued. Their isolation forced them to find original solutions to problems most species solve through cooperation. Krell leaned forward with renewed interest. They're evolving differently than Council races. Precisely, the voice confirmed. Most species follow similar patterns of development. Humans break these patterns repeatedly. The hologram displayed human colonies on various planets and moons. Each showed different adaptations to local conditions. Some humans lived in huge domes on airless worlds. Others built floating cities on gas giants. One colony had even settled inside an asteroid. Humans are incredibly adaptable, the voice said. Where Council races would use standard terraforming methods, humans often adapt themselves and their technology to match different environments. Lyra watched with growing amazement. They don't seem focused on war anymore. They're building, exploring, learning. Their military capabilities continue to grow, the voice cautioned. But you are correct that their main efforts appear directed toward expansion and development. The scene shifted to show Council analysis of possible futures. 3 main scenarios were presented. The first scenario is continued isolation, the voice explained. Humans remain within their territory but eventually exhaust their resources. The quarantine succeeds but may last centuries. The second scenario showed human ships breaking through the boundary, with new conflicts erupting. Some Council members believe war is inevitable, the voice continued. They argue that humans will eventually expand beyond their territory by force when they feel strong enough. The third scenario displayed peaceful contact being re-established, with human and Council representatives meeting. Others suggest attempting diplomatic relations again, the voice said. They believe humans have matured as a species and might now accept Council membership on equal terms. The hologram showed the current Council debate about which approach to take. Representatives argued passionately for different strategies. This question remains unresolved, the voice explained. The The council is deeply divided on how to handle the human situation. New data appeared showing projections of human development over the next 50 years. Based on current trends, humans will have settled over 100 planets by next century, the voice said. Their technology may surpass council standards in several areas. Their population will continue to grow rapidly. Dorn's crystal body had shifted to a thoughtful green color. So the quarantine is really just buying time? The council knows it can't contain humans forever? That appears to be the case, the voice agreed. The question is not if humans will rejoin galactic society, but when and how. The final image showed a recent recording of a human research ship near the boundary. It was larger and more advanced than earlier vessels. Sensors indicated energy readings far beyond what should be possible for its size. This ship appeared at the boundary last month, the voice said. It transmitted a simple message before returning to human space. The message appeared as text. When you are ready to talk as equals, we will be waiting. The hologram faded, and the room lights brightened again. End of briefing, the voice announced. You now possess information few citizens have access to. The council trusts you will use this knowledge responsibly. Dean Vox entered the viewing room. His metallic face was solemn. You have one more task, he told the students. Professor Zarthal expects a report on what you've learned and your recommendations for future human relations. This will be presented to your entire class. Krell looked alarmed. But the information is restricted. How can we present it? You will not share the classified footage, Dean Vox explained. Only your conclusions and analysis. This is a test of your judgment as much as your understanding. The students looked at each other, realizing the responsibility they now carried. We should meet to discuss our report, Lyra suggested as they left the secure area. The Garden Dome, this evening? Dorn proposed. Krell nodded. We have a lot to think about before we write anything. As they walked away, each student was lost in their own thoughts. The humans who had seemed like a joke yesterday now filled their minds with fear, respect, and questions about the future. The Garden Dome was quiet in the evening. Most students had returned to their living areas for the night. Krell, Lyra, and Dorn sat on a bench surrounded by plants from 100 different worlds. Soft lights glowed among the leaves, creating a peaceful atmosphere that felt strange after what they had seen. I still can't believe what humans did to that council fleet, Krell said. His voice was low even though no one else was nearby. Lyra nodded. 300 ships. Gone in minutes. Dorn's crystal body had settled into a calm blue color as he collected his thoughts. But the council attacked first. The humans were defending their home. They were preparing for war before we even met them, Krell argued. They sent secret probes to spy on us. Because they expected the worst, Lyra pointed out. Their history taught them to be careful. They fell silent for a moment, each thinking about what they had learned. So what do we tell our class? Krell finally asked. We can't show them the footage. We should start with why we were wrong, Dorn suggested. We mocked the human ban, without understanding it. Agreed, Lyra said. But we should be careful not to cause panic. Remember what Dean Vox said about why this information is restricted? They spent the next hour planning their presentation. As they talked, they noticed Professor Zarthal walking along a garden path toward them. His 6 eyes blinked in sequence as he approached. Good evening, students, he said. I trust the viewing was educational. They all nodded, suddenly feeling embarrassed about their earlier behavior in class. Professor, we want to apologize, Lyra said. We were disrespectful. About the human ban, we didn't understand. Professor Zarthal settled onto the bench beside them. That was precisely why I sent you to see the footage. Knowledge must come before judgment. We're working on our presentation now, Krell explained. But it's hard to know what we should include. That is also part of the lesson, the professor said. Those with access to sensitive information must decide what to share and what to withhold. This is a responsibility that comes with knowledge. Dorn's crystal body shifted to a questioning yellow color. Professor, what do you think about humans? Are they really as dangerous as the footage suggests? Professor Zarthal was quiet for a moment before answering. Humans are dangerous, yes, but not in the way many council members believe. What do you mean? Lyra asked. The danger of humans is not that they will attack us, the professor explained. It's that they think differently. They solve problems in ways we would never consider. This makes them unpredictable, which frightens many species. Like how they developed weapons before improving their space travel, Krell said, understanding now. Exactly, Professor Zarthal nodded. Most species follow similar paths of development. Humans break these patterns constantly. This is both their greatest strength and what makes them so concerning to the Council. So what should happen with humans? Dorn asked. Should the quarantine continue? The professor's 6 eyes looked at each student in turn. That is what your generation must decide. Those who established the quarantine were reacting from fear after a terrible defeat. But 40 years have passed. Perhaps it is time for a new approach. You want us to recommend ending the quarantine? Lyra asked, surprised. I want you to think carefully and recommend what you truly believe is best, Professor Zarthal corrected. Your perspective as students who initially questioned the ban, but now understand its origins, is valuable. With that, the professor stood. Your presentation is scheduled for tomorrow's class. I look forward to hearing your thoughts. After he left, the 3 students stayed in the garden for several more hours, debating what they should recommend. By the time they returned to their living areas, they had a plan. The next day, the lecture hall was unusually full. Word had spread that the 3 students who had questioned the human ban would be giving a special presentation. Even several council representatives had come to hear what they would say. Professor Zarthal introduced them briefly, then stepped aside. The 3 friends walked to the front of the room, nervous but determined. Krell spoke first. 3 days ago, we sat in this room and mocked the human quarantine. We thought it was unnecessary and based on fear rather than facts. Lyra continued. We were granted special access to restricted information about humans. What we learned changed our understanding completely. Dorn's crystal body glowed with confidence as he added, Today we will share what we can about why humans are classified as a Class X restricted species. They took turns explaining human history, their unique development path, and the events that led to the quarantine. They carefully avoided mentioning specific details about human weapons or the exact losses the Council suffered. Humans developed along different lines than most species, Krell explained. Where we focus on cooperation and shared knowledge, humans were shaped by competition and conflict among their own kind. Lyra showed charts of human expansion within their territory. Since the quarantine began, humans have settled dozens of worlds and their population has tripled. Their technology continues to advance rapidly even without access to Council knowledge. Dorn presented the 3 future scenarios the Council was considering. When he finished, the 3 friends looked at each other. It was time for their recommendation. We believe the quarantine should not be permanent, Krell stated. Isolation will only delay the inevitable meeting between humans and the wider galaxy. Some in the audience gasped or murmured in disagreement. The Council representatives looked troubled. However, Lyra added quickly, we do not recommend immediate full contact. Humans have been isolated for 40 years. Reintegration must be gradual, Dorn concluded. We propose a limited exchange program. Small delegations of scientists and diplomats meeting on neutral territory. A chance to build understanding before any major policy changes. When they finished, the room was silent. Then Professor Zarthal stepped forward. Thank you for this thoughtful analysis, he said. You have demonstrated exactly why we need fresh perspectives on long-standing problems. One of the Council representatives stood. Your recommendation is surprisingly similar to a proposal I submitted 3 years ago. It was rejected as too risky then, but perhaps it is time to reconsider. As the class ended, students crowded around Krell, Lyra, and Dorn with questions. They answered as best they could without revealing restricted information. Later, as they walked together across the academy grounds, Lyra smiled. I think we actually made a difference today. Krell nodded. Maybe someday we'll even meet a human in person. Dorn's crystal body shimmered with bright colors of excitement. If we do, I'll be sure not to mock them. They all laughed. But the sound held new understanding. They had learned that the universe was more complex and dangerous than they had imagined. But they had also found hope that even the greatest divisions might someday be bridged. Above them, the stars shone like possibilities, including one distant yellow star where humans continued their mysterious evolution, perhaps also dreaming of the day they would rejoin the galactic community.